Hi, welcome back to the Titus 2 Women channel. I wanted to thank you again for tuning in, and I'm here today to do a part 2 of Rebuild After Reprieve. So today I'll be discussing and going further into what are some of the things we will cover today. Three things. One will be the conscious and unconscious decisions that you begin to make after you decide to rebel that you may think is pleasing to God. Two, the illusion of freedom. And number three, that thing where we will cover the definite circumstances that will happen that you will walk yourself right into after you decide to rebel against God. So again, I want to thank you, and I want to jump right into this. So again, we're coming from Ezekiel chapter 20 as from the first video, and today we'll be covering a few verses. We'll be covering verse 3, we'll be covering verse 8, 13, 14, verse number 24 through 28, and then verse 30 and 31. So in verse 3, it says that I will not be inquired by you. God here was saying that he would not be inquired, meaning he will not be asked of information by you. Because first step, when you are in a reprieve, and even before a reprieve, maybe you're in captivity, or maybe you have been set apart, you've been separated, so that God can deal with you and begin to work his plan in your life. And you have now been allowed to have a reprieve, and now God is wanting to continue the work he had began, and now you're deciding that you don't want to go back to finish the work that he's began. So now the first thing that you begin to do, the asking, the seeking, the resorting to him, his word regarding his will for you will stop. That's the first thing. The second thing, or another thing, is the original plan, or the plan that God was working with you through. You seek him. You don't seek his directions on anymore. So third, you also stop listening. Right now, you'll begin to cast away, or do not cast away, or reject the abomination that's in your eyes, the things that are sinful or hateful, like the ways you may act that aren't or weren't pleasing to God. You'll begin to reject those things, and you'll begin to stop listening to him. And now you have these abominations, which you tarnish the purity of God's character by wickedness. And how you say, are you doing that? One, you're adding your own invention to God's institution. You're deciding to do, invent, make decision, make choices that are of your will, that are, that will only include your actions and not anything pertaining to his help, his instructions, or anything like that. Also, the institutions, the things that he has already established and the things that he's already planned, his will, you now no longer or you are tarnishing them things by not getting his instructions, by not asking his will, by not listening to him. So now you're tarnishing these things and tarnishing the purity of his characteristics, or his character. Next, you begin to urge everyone to comply with your decisions, your choices, though they go against what you have even told them God told you to do. So you may have said, well, God has separated me because he separated you to again, like I said, he has a plan for your life. So you're now in separation, but now you're telling people, oh, you want to make these decisions. Now you're making these choices. Now these are your new actions, and you want people to comply with them. um, and you want them to not even, basically don't even talk to you about what it was that you was doing before, right? Another thing that we'll begin to do, and that's act and believe in the actions and decisions and the inventions that we ourselves have decided to come up with, and we actually believe that they are of equal authority to God, and that their efficiency, that they have the ability to produce a desired and intent and an intended result that God had, or one better than He has, and that's not true. So these are some of the decisions these are some of the unconscious and conscious decisions, that things that you're now beginning to do and not realizing that they really have consequences to them, right? And it doesn't matter if you are consciously doing them or unconsciously doing them, because either way you are um, in rebellion, and so therefore you are going against God, right? So the next thing it says that you now forsake not idols. There was a point where you abandoned idols and you were now saying you wouldn't have anything to do with them. Now you setting up idols, you're setting up altars to idols that's in your heart. Now you're setting up a separation between you and God, right, with these idols, which stops your current favors, your current favor with God, the current favor that God has towards you, right? And you spoil, and then you not only that, you spoil the acceptableness of your service to God. That's where the pleasing of Him come in. Like, you can really be in rebellion and think that because this is what you've decided to do, that you still have God's favor. You can really think this, that you still have God's favor and that you are still being pleasing to Him. And I'm here to tell you that's not the case. And then thirdly, you set up walls in opposition to God. Now thrusting God out of what it is that you're doing. And so how can you have His favor if God is not into what you are doing? You can't have His favor. You can't have His blessing, right? You can't even have His hand in helping you with it. So now you're not even seeing that this is injury to yourself, because all you know is that this is what you want to do, and that you don't want to do that anymore. Okay, and so those are just a few of the things that came out of verses 3 through 3 and 8. Now, the second topic that I wanted to bring across to you are the illusions of freedom. I thought this was a very, very good. I believe that people are to be aware of these illusions of freedom, because they are devices, and they will have you making decisions that add to the lie that they already are. One of them being you feeling a real sense of freedom. After you have been in a reprieve, you felt freedom. You felt free. While you were in separation, captivity, wherever it was that God was dealing with you, whatever situation where God had you, that He was dealing with you, you may have not felt like you were free. But once you were in a reprieve state, you felt a sense of freedom. But now that you're in a rebellious state, now you have a sense of freedom, but it's just an illusion. Okay? You also feel like you can move now. You can make decisions. Those decisions can come to pass. Those choices that you've decided that you wanted to do can come to pass. And that, there's no harm. Now you once in that now you are able to move without restrictions. And again, an illusion of freedom. Because though it may seem like you are free, moving freely, that you have no restriction, we just said here in the first thing in making decisions, conscious and unconscious decisions, as you rebel, that you set up walls in opposition to God. What do you think happens to people that are in opposition to God? Think about that. The next illusion of freedom is you feeling like you have a sense of happiness. You feeling like, oh, you're so happy because you're free. But again, it's an illusion of happiness. Because if you're in opposition and if you are in disobedience to God and you don't have favor, you don't have his protection, you don't have his peace, you don't have no happiness. Right? Next illusion of freedom is your actions and thoughts are pleasing to God. This is definitely an illusion of freedom, that you think that you're pleasing God and that your acts are pleasing to God. How are your acts pleasing to God when you're in disobedience? God even says that obedience is better than sacrifice. So even if you looked at it like, oh, God, I'm doing this as an act of sacrifice, he will still prefer your obedience over sacrifice. So again, an illusion of freedom. Then next you have, as I mentioned, the sense of peace. If you are in disobedience, this is a short-lived peace. Because again, if you have no favor, if you have no favor with God, if you have no protection, if you have no full protection of God, then you are now accessible to things coming into your life, things happening in your life, where immediately these afflictions, these things are gonna now take your peace. And then now you also, another illusion of freedom is you still having full access to God. You thinking you have full access to God and God's full blessing and favor. Do you? How do you know? How do you know that you have his full blessing? Because what if obedience is if obedience is pleasing to him and you're being disobedient, how do you have his full blessing? How do you have his favor? Right? So again, another illusion of freedom. So now I wanted to go to the third thing that I wanted to speak on, and that is the ultimate circumstances that you are actually walking into because you've decided to rebel, right? So now 13, and it's starting here at 13, where it's saying now you have stopped walking in his statutes. You have stopped now walking in his statutes, which are his mandates, his precepts, and his rules, his boundaries. You have now stopped walking in these things. Now you despise his judgments. What are his judgments? His ability, you have now stopped walking and believing that God has the ability to make a decision for an outcome that's a sensible conclusion. Which means that I believe God so much, I trust God so much that any decision that he makes, I believe that he has the ability to make the best decision for me for any situation in my life, for any aspect of my life. That whatever decision he makes, he has the ability more than me to make the best decision. Right? Okay, so then now the question is, doing the walking. You're walking. You're going along with instructions that you now that and you're now despising the plan, his will. So now you're not doing the things that he had you doing to get you to the expected end. You're not walking in the things that he was having you do to get you to your expected end. You're not now not going along with his instructions that were to get you to his expected end. And all of these things have consequences, right? Um, Another thing, you're also and this is another thing that has a major consequence. When you are now causing his name to be profaned among the heathens. So you now have decided to bring yourself out unready, undone among the heathens. And then not only when we do that, right? In a sense, we're kind of saying, okay, I'm bringing myself out, and I'm kind of going. I'm not really doing what the world gonna do, but I'm really doing what the world gonna do, right? So you're causing his name to be profaned among the heathens, and profane just really means that you are treating his name as if it's irrelevant. Okay, and then you are abusing all the sacred things that he made himself known. If you decide to continue in your rebellious until the end, and you never allow the work to be finished, then could the world, could the heathens then try to come up with the idea that God can't finish what he said he gonna do? They there now. So the answer to that question is yes. Because now people are seeing what you have produced so now, because this is the thing. Now that you are in rebellious, people are now seeing what you have produced rather than what God has produced through his word, because you didn't follow through to the end. Now let's just say that again. They now see what you have produced rather than what God produced through his word. I can tell you now, they don't look the same. In no way. They don't look the same in no way. Another thing that you're now also doing is you despise his statutes. So I said that you despise his statutes, which are his boundaries. And for those things that you now disobey God's statutes. So now you're disobeying them because you despise them. And despising just means that now that you hate them, it's almost kind of like, I guess, when you're a kid and your parents have rules, and it's a point where as a kid you like, well, I follow the rules because they keep you realize in a sense they kind of keep you safe. But then you get older and you like, no, these rules, because you kind of want to do your own thing, and it's kind of restricting you from doing what it is that you kind of have a desire in your heart to do. And so now you kind of like, I don't like these rules. I don't like these rules aren't, these rules are not what's up. I don't like these rules. So then that's where the despising of the rules now begin, not just in as you grow up, but even in the manner of in rebellion. that you're despising the rules, and now you have an opinion of them. When when the opinion of his statue of or his statutes or his boundaries are only because you are in rebellion, because you are in the wrong. So that's another thing that caused you to rebel. One, we said, was you putting your trust in your own limited wisdom. You wanting to do your own. You basically not having the patience to wait on God to finish what He said He was doing. Anger and bitterness, bad advice, pride, fear, and ambition. Right? Those were the reasons that caused you to turn to rebellion after your reprieve. So now God has to pollute. So now God has to pollute you in your own gifts. You now have to deal with statutes and judgments which are not good. You now have to and actually you have to deal with the statutes and judgments that are not good, and they were never meant for you to live by. But because you have decided to rebel, now these things have been given to you as part of your decision to rebel. Then there's the sin. Your sin is to be your punishment. Now look, it's one thing already that sin can. There's a saying. I'm gonna say this first. There's a saying that sin will take you further than you want to go, keep you there longer than you want it to be, right? And so here it's saying that sin will be your punishment, and your own vile appetite and passions. Sin will be your punishment, your own vile appetite and passions. That doesn't sound like peace. That doesn't sound like favor will be there. That doesn't sound like joy will be there. That doesn't sound like happiness will be there or blessings. All these that sounds like the things that are in the illusion of freedom, right? Then it says that He'll leave you to yourself, and He'll permit you to pollute yourself. All of these are definite circumstances that you begin to walk yourself into because you've decided to rebel. Another thing, He'll leave you to your own counsel. Another thing, He said all of this will lead you into vain and make you. All of this will lead you into ruin and make you desolate. Shall we look up the word desolate? Let's look up the word desolate. I just wanna look up the word desolate because see, we be thinking that everything we can just do everything how we want to do it, however and that nothing is. Let's look up the word desolate. Desolate means a place that's deserted of people and in a state of bleak and dismissal. Hold on, cause it's my screen wasn't in full. So again, it says a place deserted of people and in a state of bleak and dismissal emptiness, barren, bare, waste. Another definition stated saying depressingly empty or bare. Should we read this again? All of these things will lead you into ruin and make you desolate. Make you desolate. Okay. Maybe you're cool with being desolate. I want to know what's ruin. Let's look at the definition of ruin. Ruin. Defined ruin. Here we go. To limit or to limit hold on, because this is not, because it says limit or control, to control or direct. Let me see another definition. To restrain. You will lead all these will lead you into restriction, lack of control, limitness, I don't think those are good. I don't think I don't think those are good. Those are good. They don't sound good. They don't sound like you're gonna be happy there. So that's definitely part of that illusion of. That's why being in rebellion gives you an illusion of freedom. So then next we have here, when we do not take warning of consequences, of those before us, we blaspheme God. When we don't take warning. So with that being said, we have seen people that have said God had them in separation, or they're in captivity for whatever reason, and God is dealing with them, again trying to get you to your expected end. And you may have seen that they maybe rebelled, or they did not get there due to their own self-destruction, right? And he's saying that you're not taking warning, you're not taking warning to the consequences that they had in their life, that you're blaspheming him, that you are now offending him with you, because now you're offending him with your words and your actions, that you're carrying out, making decisions that are disrespectful to him and to the things that he considered holy. And in that, you've committed a trespass against him. So how can we have freedom? Where would you be free with you doing all this? That's why number 3 was you walking yourself right into the worst thing that you can do, including death. It said, now you've committed a trespass against him, and a trespass goes back to the same thing as being disobedient against his law. Now tell me again how being disobedient to God will get you anywhere with him. Tell me how being disobedient to God will be him blessing you. Tell me how being disobedient to God, you are being blessed by him. And yes, you may say, oh, well, I'm being disobedient, but everything that I pray for, I'm getting. Is it okay? Everything you ask for, you're getting. Just maybe it has not got to the point where it's adding affliction to your life, stress to your life. Because remember, in what he gives you, you don't have stress. You shouldn't have affliction. So then it says, now you are offering your sacrifices and you presenting provocations of your offering that should go to God, that should be pleasing to him. You are now doing it in an appropriate or in an incorrect circumstance, in an incorrect way, because you have decided to do it your own way. I'm saying, I once thought that I was doing. I once thought that my disobedience, that I was still in good standing with God. I thought that I was still pleasing to him in disobedience, and it turned out all of those illusions of freedom were not freedom at all, and it turned out to really become man, a hard place for me. And so that's why I'm here, that's why I'm here trying to help you to understand that to rebel after reprieve is not the best way to do. That's not the best thing to do. Allow God to finish what it is he started in you. Allow him to finish whatever he's doing in you. Because the outcome of you doing your own thing, you think you think that where you were restricted was bad. When you get out of his favor and his blessing, it get worse. It get real worse. It get worse. And so I wanted to say a couple of things with the I want to just go over a couple of things that you will see. You will not have comfort or benefit from God or the world. That's something that they're gonna tell you. In rebellion, you will not have comfort or benefit from God or the world. And because you listening and you giving heed to your idol, he won't have nothing to do with you. You are, because now you are not honoring him by asking him and seeking him. And when it's not about what your rebellion, or you don't expect an answer of peace from him, when you are in disobedience, don't expect an answer of peace from him. Like, don't expect him to be like, peace, peace unto you. That's not going to happen. You will reap no benefit by your religion that you're not entirely or sincerely in. Because really, when you are in rebellion, you're really not entirely and sincerely into your relationship with him. You really don't have a comfortable communication with him. If you be honest and sit back and think, you don't have a comfortable communication with him, because or worship, because how are you really worshiping him? How are you really in communication with him when you are being disobedient? And then what you end up doing is you will actually begin to because you're thinking that you'll end up beginning to perform out of habit. I'm telling you. There's also no benefit from conforming in public to the extent that you decide to be as a heathen. And there's no benefit in that. And there's also no benefit in you thinking that you're going to join in with them knowingly or unknowingly, because that's not going to work. He won't even let it work. And then you decide to join in with the world, and you think that they're going to admit you in, because they already thinking the worst of you. So, for instance, have you ever like been not giving a person to think the worst of you, and they think the worst of you? This is worse, because you already kind of feeling like I haven't done anything for them to think the worst of me, but you trying to fit in, you trying to get in like they in. Yeah, they thinking the worst of you, and they looking upon you like you're a fraud, or you fake, or you a hypocrite, and you ain't never even showed them a trait of that characteristic, of you having that characteristic, but that's how they looking at you, because you trying to fit in, because you done decided that you're gonna be rebellious and you're gonna join in with the world. Okay. There is nothing. There's no way that you can meet. This is what I want to say. There's no way that you can mingle with the world in their prosperity, and you shall not. And you, there's no way of mingling with the world with their prosperity, because what will happen to you is you're gonna be distinguished from them for destruction. And it's going to happen to you sooner and you'll be more solely punished than them, that never knew that they was even doing that ever knew that they was even doing wrong. So you risking thinking that you are going to prosper with them, and you're not. You're risking being distinguished for destruction. So like the bull's eye is on your back, and that is gonna happen sooner for you and more severe than them. Okay. God, and then you will also be cast out of His protection, and have those that you supposed to be ruled over, that you're supposed to rule over you. Okay. And then this one right here, rebels, meaning people that are in rebellion right now, are dispersed in battle. Then they'll be brought back to be punished. So, so you as the rebel be dispersed. Like it be some stuff going on. You gonna be pushed. You gonna be scattered out there with the rest of them. But then it says then you will be brought back to be punished by the sword of justice, and He will avenge the breach of His law with much terror. Listen, 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 listen. I'm smiling, but listen, this is serious, and you don't want to be in this place. You don't want to be here. And I just wanted to say that the reason why I am bringing this to you is again because I have saw what rebellion in your life, you choosing rebellion, can do. And I know that it is a place that many, and I'm realizing that it's a place that many are just not really understanding that they're going there, and they kind of get there and they thinking, oh, okay, it's peace, it's settled, it's quiet, okay, I'm happy, and they don't understand that it's a balloon waiting to bust that they're sitting on. And once that balloon busts, and it will bust, and that you won't have anything to grab onto, the only thing that will save you is to repent and return back. And so I'm going to encourage you, before you even get to step 1, 2, or 3, that you repent now, and that you turn back and you ask God to forgive you, and you decide to just let God finish doing the work that He's decided to do in your life, because He knows way more than you know. He can do way more than you can do. And so I just ask that you would just repent and just go back and allow Him to finish the work that He started in you. And I'm coming back with a part 3 that we will talk about the repenting. We will talk about the repenting, and we will cover the repenting and what it looks like. And we will come back again. And I pray that this video will encourage you to pause. I mean, whether you're married, whether you're thinking about a divorce, whether whatever you are wherever you are, and God is really tugging on you, speaking to you to don't do it, don't do it, and He's telling you don't do it, and you like, but I want to do it. I'm telling you, don't do it. Don't do it. Because there are some consequences. There are some things that you may feel like, oh, I remember telling God, I can handle it. As long as I got you, I can handle it. You listen, you don't even want, let me tell you, you don't even want to try to handle it. Even with him. That's how bad it can be. Okay? And you know with God all things are possible. So I'm telling you, if you don't so I'm praying for you that you will repent. I'm praying that this video will speak to you where you are, and it will help you it helps to give you understanding of how important this decision or decisions that you are at right now to make are really, really important, and that you should seek to be obedient to what God is telling you to do. Okay, so until next time, I thank you again for watching this video on the Titus 2 channel. I ask that you would like, click, and subscribe, and leave a comment. And until next time, have a great day.